Hello and welcome to Cocktails and Gossip, the podcast where we drink cocktails, but you better believe we are going to spill the tea. We chat reality TV, celebrity blinds, and the hottest tea from Bravo and Cocktails.com. And as always, it's all alleged and just for fun. We do not verify our blinds. My name's Amanda.
I'm B.
And today, in honor of this season of Real Housewives of New Jersey, I think we need to talk about the video.
Oh God, the Louis video.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So I gotta tell you, it came to me randomly. Okay, it was with my OG account prior to any issues on my OG account. That's one piece of the puzzle of my shutdown. So it was random. I had an email and I sort of established myself as the place to send gossip because I had gotten a lot of good stuff and I just was posting, like not blurring any names, just posting, throwing it out there. So I get this email and the email says, and let me see, because I wrote it down. Hold on. So I get this anonymous email with the video and it says, I'm not going to say his name, right? I don't need to say his name. We all know who he is. He is a serial abuser. And this is a video of the Warrior program, where he would go when he would behave badly. It said he went with his ex-fiance, Paula. And then a second time after he left his ex-fiance, Vanessa in Cape Cod. And then there was this video of a bunch of
I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but I feel like we shouldn't say the names of the girlfriends. I see no reason to, and so maybe let's just back, because I didn't want you to keep using their names, which is why I interrupted you. Sorry.
Right. Okay. Let me back it up.
Okay. I'll tee you up.
Should I just start from the beginning again?
Yeah. I'll just tee you up. Okay. So, all right, the video. I am dying actually to hear the story about where it came from and like how it all just came to be.
The Warrior video. It was actually very random. It was prior to the website. I had my OG account, Bravo and Cocktails, no underscore in those days. And I had an email, bravoandcocktails@gmail. And I get this email. The name was John Smith. Okay. Like the most generic name. I open it up and it's a video. I watch the video and I'm just like, what is this? We've all seen it. It was topless men. And the main character was professing his love to his fiance and he wanted to get engaged and he was with his brothers and we had just met a week ago, but they were his brothers and he was a changed man. Bizarre. And they were in a canoe in the middle of a lake, I guess a lake. So I was just like, at this point, I don't think anything was even circulating about him. I don't think there was any hint that, we know what followed, right? I posted it all because this person sent it to me. And side note, the person was not Marge. I have zero affiliation with Marge other than watching her on the show. It was, if I had to guess, it was probably one of his exes. That is who the video was sent to. So that is who would be in possession of the video and the subsequent letters, police reports. There's a lot of stuff I didn't post because there was stuff I wasn't comfortable with. Whoever was sending it to me, I wasn't aware of whether or not it was the ex. I wasn't aware of what they wanted out. So one of my rules, and this is without exception, if you are not a public figure, if you do not make public appearances, if you are not on a reality show, regardless of your age, I am not posting your face or your name or anything about you. You're a private person, right? Once you date a celebrity and you're in the tabloids and you're signed up and filming a reality show, you are now open to gossip accounts like myself gossiping, because that is what people do. That is how you earn a living. That is part of this job you sign up for, right? As a public figure. So it was not Marge. It was somebody named John Smith. I'm sure that's not their name, right? Generic, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I get this video and I'm like sitting on my couch. All right. So I just threw my watermark on it and posted it. Did I know it was going to go viral in minutes? No. I thought it was weird. I probably should have considered what a big draw his girlfriend was, right? I mean, she's on the Real Housewives of New Jersey. She's had so much scandal in her life. And so I wasn't even thinking, I just posted it and people went bananas. It was picked up by every one of the blog sites. I mean, Heather McDonald and her girlfriends reenacted it, which was hysterical. I loved that. I was dying laughing.
Oh my God. It was so funny. Because I am a huge Heather McDonald fan. I listened to all of her podcasts. And when I first saw her video, it was like, what is this? And then I caught up on like social media and I was like, oh my God, this is the funniest thing. Because that video, like, I don't even know what I would have done if I had gotten that video in like my inbox. Like, you're like, what the hell is this? And he's like yelling at the camera. He's like red and he is like, my brothers, these are my brothers. And they're like staring like with like mean faces at the camera.
Like, if I was just, I don't know, like paddle boarding and that canoe came by, I would, oh my God, I would like, forget it. I was
like a double take for sure.
Waterboard myself. Is that the term? Waterboard myself? Like I'd be like, this is the end. This is where I say sayonara.
Oh my God, that's so funny. And the video that we were talking about, I guess I need to like be a responsible website person and tell you guys, if you don't know the video, if you are one of the few people who are Housewives or Bravo fans who have not seen the video, you can see it
after this.
Yes. It is on. We actually put it on the best of. So it's at bravoandcocktails.com and it's in the best of section. So if you haven't seen the video, now you have heard our take on the video.
Oh my God.
But you can watch the video. And
are you even a Bravo fan if you haven't seen the video, Amanda? But
I mean,
it's possible. I suppose it's possible.
That is where like how could you not watch the show and be like, what is this video that they're talking about? Which is what is so crazy. Because like, did you ever even guess that it would become like such a central part of the show this season?
Absolutely not. I thought it was nutty and weird, but certainly not. And then after that, John Smith, the generic email, kept sending me stuff. And I mean, as I said, a lot of the stuff I didn't post because it was too much for me personally. The video to me was funny and weird, but it wasn't like dark. A lot of the stuff that was sent was dark and it was outside of my personal comfort zone. I know I think, most of it has been shared somewhere, Reddit, that swamp. But, okay. So then we get letters that this person wrote to ex-fiancés, and he didn't go to this camp once. He went so he was married, divorced, one fiance, he went, they broke up, got another fiance, he left her in Cape Cod or something, and then he went on the camp, the warrior camp. And so this was like anytime he would fight with his fiance of the year, he would go to this camp. And so when people found this out, it was sort of like, not only did he do this weird ass shit once, this was a routine. This was it's like, if you're trying to lose weight, you get on a diet and exercise program. If you're trying to get your fiance back, you go to the warrior program. So,
oh my gosh. I did a little research on this camp. I forgot to mention this to you earlier when we were chatting. People spend tens of thousands of dollars to go to this thing. They get thrown in a hole, like a 6-foot deep hole.
Stop.
That they can't get out of for like, I don't know, like 6 hours. I might be getting my numbers again, terrible memory, but they get, part of it is they get like, I think it's one of those like break you down so we can build you back up kind of things, but people spend tens of thousands of dollars to go to this thing just for some context. That's
That's disturbing. I did not know that. Wow.
yeah, it's
Um,
crazy.
so I absolutely did not know, but I should have known because his girlfriend is such a big, well-known star. She's got such a huge fan base, and even if you don't love her, like you want to know what's going on. Um, her life, I mean, her life was calm after years of scandal. I think we were also happy when we first saw the boyfriend. You know, the jail, the deportation, the divorce, raising the girls by herself, losing her parents. And another thing I want to say, tree huggers or whatever it is, love to say, I hate Teresa. It couldn't be further from the truth. I have always been a fan of Teresa. I am very different than her, just in the way I operate. I mean, outside of being Italian American, I'm very different from her. But I like her. I certainly think she's a great mother. It's just that, I mean, I'm a gossip page and I got sent this video and I shared it. And from there, you know, it came out that there were a lot of red flags. I mean, and they weren't really, they were red flags with evidence. It wasn't anything that was rumored because it exists. There's letters, there's police reports, which again, you know, a lot of that stuff I didn't post because I just didn't want to go near it. Um, so that's what it is. Um, so
And I think too, like just to kind of jump in here, like I actually think even if you don't like feel like you and Teresa, like, and when I say you, I mean anybody, right? Like,
right.
even if people watch her and are like, I don't know if we would be friends in real life, like, I feel like we're all rooting for her
Yeah,
because she has
totally
had
agree.
such a hard time and want to see like good things happen to her because she is a great mom and she
Yeah,
has done so much and like has been able to keep it, you
going
know,
afloat
keep
and
those kids, yeah, in that same house, which
yeah.
like that is like that
Listen,
must have been
she's
so
a
hard.
badass. I mean, I think I respect her. But I have to say, with all this stuff, and then you know, to have a relationship, if you choose to have a relationship with somebody, like that's your business. But the moving in together with daughters, for me, you know, I don't know. I'm not in that situation, and I'm sure in real life things are different. And I truly hope, and it is totally possible that he has improved himself and he's different from what we've been shown. I didn't like what I saw in the final episode, the way he was talking. You know, men who have to put that sort of dominance over women. Listen, to say it's not for me is the understatement of the century. So
Yeah.
we'll leave it there. It's not, you know,
You mean the jacket was not for you?
the backbone. He drew a backbone on. I mean, come on. Come on.
I just think the other thing too is like I think all of us are hoping that Teresa is seeing this stuff and is like
And I mean, based on
internalizing
the
it.
past,
Like,
you're hoping that people learn, right? So we all make bad decisions, but like you
yes.
have to grow from them. And to just see her pick a guy who, just because on the surface he says things in a nicer way than her previous husband, if the actions, if the evidence is still the same, the
Yeah.
actions, like actions, yeah, I don't know.
I'm
Actions,
just praying like that he has changed, like you
that doesn't
said,
make sense.
and like his history is not the best at like the long-term relationships, and that's what we want for
Right.
Teresa is to have a great
Right.
long happy love story. And
And then it just came out like this week. Somebody posted, it said, he doesn't want her to change her name from, and again, we haven't decided how we're saying it, right? Because she used to say Judice and now she says Judice, and she kind of went, whatever it is. Teresa Judice is the most current rendition of it. He doesn't want her to change her name because that's how she's known. Doesn't sound like somebody who wants her to quit her job because she never has to work. Like, and I'm not saying she should change her name. Her daughters have that name. Like, I'm saying if his opinion is don't change your name because that's how you're known, why does she need to be known? If he makes so much money, she never has to work a day in her life.
that is spicy tea. I hadn't heard that.
Oh,
Yikes.
yeah. So I'm like, that is again, antennas go up. You have all
Yeah.
of this stuff. And it should be like, if you love this woman and you are financially stable, number one, she clearly hates doing the show. She hates it. However, she's a responsible mother, and this is her means of providing for them. I respect that she still does it, even though she hates it, because this is her source of income. Got it. On that episode, he clearly said, I work so hard. You never have to work a day in your life. Let's move into our 15,000. Some people said 50. I think he said 15,000. Listen, it's a big fancy house, whatever it is. Let's move into our big fancy house. You never have to work a day in your life. Okay. Got it. Now, week after the show premieres, she says, Louis doesn't want me to change my name because that's how people know me. Why do people need to know you, boo?
I don't know. That
you don't need to work anymore. So
I don't know.
I just find it weird that he wants to marry somebody who people know. And I got a message today, Amanda. Oh my God. You see, this is why, like, that stuff just comes. This is why I need Amanda, guys, because she gets the emails and organizes my thoughts. This was in my DMs, though. So she didn't get this. So I'm scrolling. I know Louis from before he was with Teresa, and a few times he would ask me if I was related to Dolores because we have the same last name and live in the same area in New Jersey. I always would tell him I don't know her, and I really don't. I like her on the show. She's great, but we just happen to have the same last name. He was very into the reality TV world and very much wanted me to set up a meeting. Again, this was before Teresa. Yes, Dolores was seeing David at that time, but everybody that watched the show kind of knew that was like a, it wasn't a marriage. It wasn't the best relationship. So I find it very odd. This is what this person writes to me. And I'm just like, and now that I'm saying this on here, I feel like other people are going to send me stuff like this. So like.
So wild theory.
Date who you want, but you're engaged, you're getting married, you're not signing a prenup.
Right.
Amanda, let's talk about that.
Well, let's hold on. Wild theory. Are you ready for my wild theory?
Oh, yes.
What if, totally just conjecture here, what if they didn't meet on the street like they met because he slid into her DMs and they went on a date?
Oh.
Because what if, like, if he was trying...
I will say that, no matter what anyone wants to say, he's definitely a handsome, fit guy.
Yeah, he's a good-looking guy, and I think he comes across very well, and he's a business owner, and, like, what if he was really interested, like this person in your DMs is saying, like, in, like, this whole reality TV world, and that's actually how they met, and then she likes him, and they're like, well, we have to have, like, a cute way that we met. And so because we both have places down the shore, that's where we met. I mean, wild theory, but
I'm a married woman, and I have to tell you, if I met somebody like that, we would definitely concoct a story that we were like walking down the street or in the gym or in a cafe getting coffee and sat down at the same table. I would not be like, yeah, he slid up in my DMs. So makes sense.
Teresa, if you're listening and there's any truth to this wild theory that I literally just made up, get a prenup, please.
Yes. I mean, I don't see the downside to a prenup for anybody in any situation, because whatever you make within your marriage, you can write in that whatever you build together is, shared property. But if you have, listen, you should do it if you're on your own and you have assets. But if you have kids,
oh my God,
if you're just secure, you're just making stuff safe for them. And if the person you're marrying also has children, he should not only understand that, but want that. I'm also curious why such a successful person, as he stated on the show he was, wouldn't want a prenup to protect himself. Yes, listen, Teresa is loyal, and if he treats her well, I don't have any doubt she would ever leave him. I say all that to say, what if, who knows? Things happen. Life happens. I don't understand why two grown-ass people in their mid to late 40s with multiple children between them and properties and businesses aren't signing a prenup. Are you 25?
Well, let's just hope.
Rental? No, you're not.
Let's just hope that they are actually, and they're just like, it's nobody's business but ours. Let's hope that that is what's happening. And so, by the way, I also had to ask you straight out, because I
Uh-oh.
know people keep asking you this. Did Marge send any of this stuff to you?
To my knowledge, and I believe not at all. I like, first of all, I like New Jersey Housewives is my favorite. I relate to it the most. Now that you all know that I'm not famous, I'm from New York City, but I'm Italian American. I get it. Okay. I get it. I also, Marge's personality, obviously we're different. She's older than me. She's divorced. Um, However, she's a strong, independent woman in many ways. I don't relate so much to the old school thing because my parents were very evolved, right? They were Italian American, so they were a generation removed from that. Um, Certainly, I grew up very traditional in many ways, but I have a master's degree. I'm an educated person, and I know that Teresa went to college. I'm not saying that, and I'm not. Well, we're going to cut that because I don't want to sound like a snob.
Yeah. But back to Mark. Let's go back to, I'll just tee you
So
up
going
again.
to March, she absolutely didn't send me anything.
Yeah.
She did not. You know, that's all I can say.
Yeah.
Unless she's John Smith and I don't know it. It seems to me that, and I don't know which ex fiance or
Yeah.
girlfriend it was. Oh, Amanda. So another little thing that I you must know, but so February break, I'm in Florida. I get an email. You got it because I texted you that
Mm.
David, Dolores's Dr. X, is dating Louis' ex girlfriend. He wasn't engaged to this one. This was the girl he was dating when he met Teresa that he left Teresa for.
Okay.
So I found that crazy. So I don't know if that ex-girlfriend wanted David because he was related to the show and kind of wanted to show Louis, like, oh, look, now I'm dating Dolores's ex. I don't know. But I do know that New Jersey's big. So I don't know why there's so much crossover here.
I was just gonna say, New Jersey is like no, like it is a large state, a very
Yeah.
populated state. So that
And they
cannot
don't
be a
all live in one
coincidence.
town. We know they're like spread around. So
Well, and the other thing too, I was just gonna say, just a little like behind the scenes thing about the website and the way people can send us stuff is they can put whatever, they can put my name, they can put anon at
right.
anon.com. Like there's nothing
Yes,
like that
I get
makes
that
them put
question
in
a
a
lot.
real of like a real email address. So like
No, it could be like
anybody can
I
submit
am
anything.
king at bravo.com. It doesn't matter. Make it up,
Right.
it goes through. You just have to put something at
Yes.
whatever.com, like at
Yes.
gmail.com. It could be
But
one,
if
two,
you ever
three,
do want to use your real email address and send us something, because then we can write you
block it out.
back and say, like, hey, if we have questions or whatever, then we will always block it out. Because some people do put their real email addresses and we just block it out and so you guys can't see who it actually came from.
And if
So,
there's more to it, like if you see a celebrity and something pops off and that's all you have to tell me, a fake email is great. But if it's something like I would like when you hit me up in the DMs, I can write back. And that's where the
right.
story really develops because it's usually, and so I know I keep bringing this up, but I get asked this a lot. How do you know what to post? So a lot of times I get something, and I told you guys my memory is shot, but I get something and then I get something else. So I have a million screenshots. You should see my albums. And I scroll up and I'm like, oh, ABC. Okay, 1 + 1 = 2. It's that easy. Like something happens or somebody starts seeing somebody and
Yeah.
different people send it to me. So, like, if I say so and so is seeing so and so, it's usually because either I have a picture or, more than one person told me that. So, yes, obviously, 4 different people can send the same thing and it could be fake. Yeah, I mean, there's room for error.
Sure. For sure.
This is not the New York Times. But, most of the stuff we post has a
Yeah.
level of like it tracks. Say it like that. I can't say it's
Yeah.
true, but it tracks for me. enough to say, let's put this out and see if it's true.
What I think is so funny too is now people are emailing blinds that like they're written as blinds. So they don't write them
Right.
to be like so and so's name, like
Which
blah blah
makes
blah
my
blah
life
blah.
so much
They'll be
easier
like,
because I don't have to go and white out.
I know. They're like, this New Jersey housewife, like
Yes.
this West Coast housewife, which is so funny because I'm like, it makes our jobs a little easier, actually.
I have to say, like, my followers are like so funny, first of all.
Yes.
And like they figure this stuff out before I do. They message me, they're like, B, it's this. I'm like, oh duh, thank you.
Yep. They are smart. They are so smart. Well, since we're kind of talking Jersey, like what do you think? And we're like wrapping up the season. What do you think? What do you think about this season of Jersey?
So I mean, I think it was fantastic. As I say, I love all the housewives for different reasons, but it's up there as far I relate to it the most. I think Jen gave us a lot. I think that she was honest, she was real. I respect it. I have opinions about her talking to her 13-year-old daughter on camera. Don't agree with it. Especially it was before we saw her talk to her husband on camera. Don't love it. Absolutely, she should have had that conversation with all of 5 of her children on camera. Unnecessary. Other than that, I think she's a great housewife. I mean, she gives us what we want. And I know, listen, you don't have to like a person. And I'm not saying I dislike her. I'm just saying you don't have to, as you said, you don't have to want to be friends with somebody to recognize their great TV. And you know, people went for Marge. I feel like if Marge didn't bring out the affair, which honestly, she was called a whore for years by Jen. And it was like, you know what? She knew this, right? She said at the reunion or on the show, she's known this for so long and she didn't say it. And it got to a point where it's like, you know, Jen called her mother names, you know, like about, like, you know what I mean? You talk about my mom. Yeah, maybe I have something to say to you too. So, and also Marge just asked questions about Louis. She didn't, it was very tame, but you know, Teresa, you're not allowed to say anything because she's the OG. But the reality is, and this again is my opinion, she's not getting a spinoff from what I hear. And you know why that is, Amanda? Because let's face it, we don't want her version. We want the real version. So a spinoff with Teresa would be boring. It would be her version of events. Now, a wedding on Real Housewives of New Jersey would be quite interesting because we'd see everybody's opinion. So I'll just leave that there. I hear she's not getting a spinoff. I hear it's part of the season. And if that's why, I mean,
yes. Well, remember, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but remember Real Housewives of Atlanta when Cynthia and Peter got married and how good that was? Because
Atlanta,
and had Cynthia been producing, like, there is no way that they wouldn't show that, like, the mom and the sister were holding the marriage license
that they couldn't pay for it. I mean,
none of that stuff would have been shown. So I totally agree.
Again, peak entertainment. And this is why it needs to be on the show. A spinoff. Candy can get a spinoff. Number one, she's entertaining enough. But number two, she's legit. So you're not going to see anything more juicy on the, you know, the same reason Nene and Greg got the spinoff, because you're not going to see them not being able to pay or whatever drama we're going to see.
Right. I totally agree. And I think Jersey would be so boring if
I also think this, like, I get such flack. I like Melissa and Joe. Mm-hmm. They're people that, like, me and my husband would hang out with. Like, I like them. They're cool. They're nice. You don't need to be the firecracker to have a role on a reality show. You know what? It's so cool when you can just be like a cute, fun couple, and that gives you
I totally agree.
A seat on a reality show. Hold on, Amanda. I have to pick up my dad's calling. One sec.
Okay, sure.
Hey, Dad, I'm recording my podcast. I'll call you when I'm done. Yeah, no, I'll be finished up. I'll call you probably in you know what? Call Bobby and see what he says, because I'm just I'm on this right now. All right, love you. Bye. I don't want to let him go because then he'll be like, what happened?
Okay, so back to So Jersey, I think Jersey would be so boring. You're totally right. If other people weren't asking other questions. So this is something I actually am so curious because we have not talked about this. Back to the whole Jen thing, because I agree. Like Jen is like all of them shared a bunch of stuff. And like I agree, like Melissa and Joe are super fun. I want to go back to something really quickly about Jen, because if you remember, I don't know if it was last season or the season before, and they're all in Mexico. And Marge brought up, like, your husband cheated and was sleeping in the pool house. And it kind of ended there. So I'm so curious why.
I remember that scene. She was
came
like,
out
your
now.
She didn't say your husband cheated. She said, your husband sleeps in the pool house when he's not in his girlfriend's bed. And she was like, what? And then Marge goes, hit a nerve. So what Jen actually said at the reunion was like, she's like, I always knew you would say it. Like Jen knew, everybody knew. Listen, everybody knew this. This was not, Jen may not have spoke about it with her family or her friends, but you're going on a reality show, people dig, and this was something that was known around,
Yeah.
you know.
So maybe Jen wanted to like control the narrative more, and by bringing it up on her own this season. What do you think?
I think so. I think that what she did was she pulled a page out of Marge's book, which is where she took over the narrative, which was smart. I think she handled it incredibly well. I felt sorry for her that it happened, but I wasn't mad at Margaret because you came for her. And first, you go on a reality show with this quote unquote secret, right? So you go on this show. Even if she hadn't come for Margaret, it could have come out, right?
Right.
So, I think that she didn't want it to come out, but she made a choice years ago when she decided to do the show that it was more important for her to be on the show, risking it coming out, than not be on the show and keep it private. So she had a good run. I think she probably went much further than she would have, much further than she thought she would go without having to address it. I think she was disappointed in the way Bill handled it. I think he should have on camera shown some remorse and spoke about how their marriage was great and it was 10 years ago and he would never do that now. And, he loves that she looked past it and they built this life, and he didn't do any of that. And that made me feel really sad for her because, they had dinner and she talked about getting half, and, she's got a whole thing going on now. She doesn't need him.
Yeah.
If she needs his money, which she doesn't technically need at this point because she has an income, but she will get because she has 5 children and I'm sure not a prenup. I'd be interested to see how much longer that goes.
Yeah.
I don't think he would ever leave. I'd be interested to see if she evolves to a point where she's like, you know what? It's not even about the affair. It's about when it publicly came out on our reality show, you just sat there. And she said it. You said nothing. You've done nothing to support me.
Yeah, and she's like, what am I defending you for?
Right. At what point does someone become dead weight?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm really sad this season's over because, like, you were kind of talking about this, but Jackie.
Starting again soon.
They all have such great roles. Like, I think Jackie is a great voice of reason. Melissa always.
Oh, I want to touch on Jackie's story. I think it was so incredibly brave of her.
I mean,
so many women. Almost all women have issues of appearance, right?
Yeah.
Self-conscious about something. Weight is a big thing for many women. I think it was very brave of her to address it and on camera. And I think Jackie's a dynamic woman. I always felt like she was too normal for reality TV because her family, like, to me, she doesn't need it.
Yeah.
She's wealthy outside of it. Her husband has a good job and she doesn't, it's not like she's a business to promote, right? So many housewives are wealthy, but either they're famous already or they're promoting something. She, to this time, she has stuff that she's partners with and stuff, but she doesn't have a business she's promoting. So I think it was great. I think her storyline was great. I think that she can hold her own. I like her. I think she's a badass.
Yeah, and you can't have all like Jen Shahs, right? Like you have to
Right.
have like certain rules. And like I think Jackie is a great voice of reason. I think Melissa brings the fun. I think Dolores, like I just like want Dolores
I
to be
love
my
Dolores.
sister.
I love her. I like Dolores is somebody that like I just how could you not love her? First of
I know.
all, if you want to just look at her kids. I mean, look at her kids and what
Yes.
wonderful, sweet, strong, smart people they are, and what a fantastic job she did
Yeah.
primarily on her own. And this season, we heard a lot about Frank that we didn't know. And Frank's a great guy now, right? And he's very involved, but it wasn't just cheating. There was more to it than that.
Right.
And she really did a lot of that on her own. And it, this season he was the first one to admit it and to raise like two kids. And oh, another thing, I have so much tea today. Dolores was, and we know this because we saw her with, I believe, Dina at a show when the kids were little, when Lexi was little and Dolores's kids were little. She was in the background. She went to a couple of events with Caroline. She was supposed to be on season 1, and she said no because her children were young. She wouldn't do it. She didn't want them to have them on TV. And we know that she eventually obviously went on. Both her kids, one was already in college, which was her daughter, Gabriella, Gabby, and Frankie was, upper grades of high school and going to college. And they were, they were like on it, but it was never about the kids.
Yeah.
So that's another thing we didn't know. Dolores could have been on it from season 1. She chose not to. And
I
she's
respect
still
that.
very good friends with the man. So I feel like we could make 8,000 episodes right now.
I mean, I don't know. And like, I mean, the whole dynamic with her, and then when Frank was living with her, and then Frank is now living with David, her ex-boyfriend, which she
And
just
there's
said on the
another
reunion.
blind I posted. It didn't come out on the reunion yet. It's going to be on the next reunion.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So I know it to be true. Frank and her boyfriend Paul don't have the best relationship. Paul doesn't like their closeness. Which I mean, I understand the not living together part, and that is why Frank doesn't live in the house.
Right.
But he's uncomfortable with their relationship, is what I'm hearing.
I get that.
We may see it next season, but I think that Dolores is too smart to make that a storyline. I feel like she would leave the show before she put her family in that situation.
Yeah.
Just knowing, how she didn't do that years ago. Why would she do that now?
I'm just so
know
curious.
That Paul, is a good guy and he really loves her and he is very successful.
I hope they figure it out, right? Because I cannot imagine the House Husbands is the whole other part of the show that we all love. And Frank is a big part of that. I hope Frank and Paul is the new boyfriend.
I feel like they will. So the way I see it is I see it as a new relationship. And I see, first of all, I feel like Frank and Frankie will try to smooth it over.
Yeah.
And you can understand where Paul's coming from. I mean,
for sure.
You can understand how it would be awkward. I think that when he gets, don't forget, this is a new-ish relationship. I think that when he's more in the mix and when he sees it, I think it's a speed bump, but I definitely think they'll get past it.
Please, I hope they do, because I so enjoy watching them drink too much and making total fools of themselves.
Martinis.
And getting Bill drunk.
I love that. I love it.
Pull them on backwards.
I mostly like Bill. This season, I didn't like him. I mean, I did like when he stood up for his wife when they were all out to dinner. I like that. I respect that. You should stand up for your wife. I mean, and you know what? He should have shown her more of that to her face on camera. And I'm not saying he doesn't do it behind closed doors. I think he probably does.
Yeah.
I just think on camera he wants to put on a certain image, right? And when you're filming, you're not always cognizant of how stuff is, what the optics are going to be. And I'm sure looking at it, I think next season we're going to see him do more of that if he's got a brain in his head, which, I mean, he is a surgeon, right? So he has one. We're going to see him do more of that. I hope we do. Because I think that, listen, no couple or family is perfect. And I certainly think that they have a good family. and people make mistakes, and I don't see why they can't move past it. But I think he's going to have to put some work into it. It can't all be Jen. That's not fair.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think he's probably just really uncomfortable. And then
Which
he
is
has too many drinks,
you
and then
were
wears his
a
polo
shot,
shirt
right? You
backwards.
were on it. You're on the show for 4 years. And all of
Yeah.
a sudden this comes out. I mean, they thought this wasn't coming out at this point. They thought they were
Yeah.
Gucci. And, you ain't Gucci
Yeah.
when you got a skeleton, babe.
I don't know. I just die because I'm like, I've done some dumb shit after I've been drinking, but the polo shirt on backwards on camera
With the hair, with the
is
hair.
that the hair is so funny and all the memes that have come from that. So,
I
I mean,
love
I feel like literally we could talk about Jersey for 5 days
for 5
because so
days
much has happened.
or 6.
But let's end today talking about some exclusive tea. So tell us what you've got that has not been on the website and has not been on Instagram.
Okay, so this one's good. I received major tea from a reliable source. This is not to say it's 100% true, everybody, because we do not verify, but it's a reliable source. A longtime Bravo star whose show was not renewed recently. He was also in the news recently. I'm going to read it to you guys.
Okay.
Well, CPS,
Yeah.
that's Child Protective Services, and the ex-baby daddy are involved. And some Persians from Beverly Hills may have been at that resort in Mexico. Side note, this is a couple of weeks old. I've been holding it because we were supposed to record and we didn't. So, and
Yes, I got sick. Sorry, guys. It's my fault.
it was
Stupid
very
COVID.
hard for me to hold this because it's very juicy, but I knew that my source wasn't going to give it to anyone else. So I was able to. Some Persians from Beverly Hills may have been at that resort in Mexico. They witnessed the canceled reality star, very recently canceled, grab the little girl to avoid confrontation with his girlfriend / fiance, brother, who showed up unannounced in Mexico. The girlfriend is still choosing the canceled reality star. Just for some context, his show was canceled. Some of his co-stars got a spinoff. His show was canceled, and a couple days, he was in the news for a domestic situation. And a couple days later, it was announced that his show was canceled. So the reason that situation happened, what I'm hearing, is that he went to a party without her and she was livid. She had some plastic surgery stuff done in prep for their next season. Unbeknownst to him or her, the season wasn't happening. They canceled the show, although they gave 3 castmates a spinoff. The reason for his firing after last season, he threatened his girlfriend / fiance, because I'm not sure what they are. I think they were engaged at one point. I don't know if they saw her. Anyway, he threatened her. They wear mic packs. So we didn't see it, but imagine everything production heard and also the cast heard. The decision to fire him was made long ago. They just didn't share it with him. So he's thinking this is happening. They decided we're going in another direction. We're just scrapping this long-term running show because of him. And furthermore, followers who speak the language that he speaks said in the season there was stuff said, like really shocking stuff, like disturbing stuff, which hasn't been made as public because it was in another language. I'm actually surprised, though, that one of these places didn't pick it up. And so,
crazy.
Sum it all up, he was in the news for a domestic issue. His show then got canceled. They went on a vacation to Mexico and took the kids. Her baby daddy doesn't want the kids around him now after this domestic dispute and probably everything he's seen on television. And not only did her brother show up, but like other people showed up, friends, cousins, I don't know. It's a like sort of a tight-knit community. And she chose him.
Wow.
the guy with the domestic dispute. So stay tuned.
Crazy.
It won't be on our television, but I don't think this is the last we're hearing of this situation.
Yeah. So interesting. And I'm sure Bravo wants nothing to do with that. If the things,
Yeah.
all the allegations are true,
And so my source said, like, this decision was not made because of his legal issues, his arrest. This decision was made like in the cutting room floor when they were editing the last season.
because of repeated
I think there
things
was
that
even
he
a
was
question
saying.
of whether they should even air, but they did because they were able to cut it out.
Wow.
But they heard it.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes. Well, that was definitely spicy. Holy moly. So I mean, that is the kind of tea that you can expect when we go on with the podcast, because that is the kind of stuff that I am having to hold me back from posting so that we can save it, so we can have extra spicy tea for you guys for the podcast. So thank you guys so much for listening. Just want to ask you guys a favor. We're, just getting kicked off. So many people have been asking us to do this podcast. So please do subscribe. And if you've subscribed, go to your podcast app and hit those 3 little dots to share with your friends. But only friends who like good tea, because the ones who don't care about tea, then forget them. And don't forget, find us on Instagram at Bravo and Cocktails _ and check out the website, because some great tea gets put there daily that would get us kicked off of Instagram.
For sure.
Which is why we have the website.
It has gotten me kicked off Instagram multiple times.
Yes. And so now we're smarter, and we just put it at bravoandcocktails.com.
When you know better, you do better.
So thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye, guys. See you next time.